Because believe it or not, sales go back to your numbers as well, right? And we want to make sure that we're being aware of the kind of sales that we're creating and making in order to be profitable and successful. So let's talk a little bit about that. Okay, so the question is, when you have sales, when you are looking to make sales, let's put it like that, what are some things that you need to be aware of? So the first thing you want to be aware of is your capacity, right? Because if you take on too much at one time, then you might not be able to sustainably continue with all of the sales that you are making. So what can be done about that? Because just because you have more sales doesn't necessarily mean you're making more money, right? So you want to make sure that you are able to support your operations with the increase in sales. So one thing that you can do is look at your capacity for your equipment, for your ability to make them, for your employees, and start thinking about how much they're doing and how much more they can take on. Because then you will know how much in sales you need to have in order to increase your workforce. It can also cause you to have to create more efficiencies. And some things that you can do that way is to figure out how you can do things faster, do things better, or make more sales, right? So you want to make sure that you're looking at those, and that kind of goes back to your profit margins. And your profit margins are directly related to your sales because you can, like I just said, you can be making a lot more in sales, and you can increase in sales. You can take your sales from 100,000 to 500,000 and still not be making a good enough amount of money. You still have the same exact issues in your business because just because you have more sales doesn't mean that you're fixing those issues. So looking at your profit margins is a great way to find out if you are going to be able to take on more in sales and also be able to increase your workforce and also make more money with your more sales. You can actually have less sales but make more money if you pay attention to your profit margins. And that's one big thing that I want to stress in our conversation today because sales is not the get all be all of business. It's definitely important and you definitely need to make it. But first, you want to make sure that you're making money off of each and every single one of those sales. Because let's be real, making sales or getting sales is a lot of work, right? This is one reason why we talk about client retention and upselling our current clients because getting a sale is a lot of work. You got to put a lot of time and energy into it in order to make those sales. So it's important that we first look back at how much revenue and income you're actually getting from your sales before you start focusing on making more. You definitely can do that, and there's a time and place for that, especially when you're first starting out. We're not really worried so much about those margins, although we could be, really, in reality. We could be worried about that, but most of the time we're not, right? We just want to get some sales, get some money going, get some cash flow going, and that's okay. But once you start getting a little bit of an idea of how you need to what needs to be put into getting those sales, you really want to make sure that you're looking at those profit margin numbers. So on the surface, we know that getting sales is super important to growing a business. But what's even more important is making sure that you're making money from that growth. And that's where looking at your numbers becomes really important. That's where digging in can become really pivotal to what your future success looks like. Two, you have to think about it. If you're a solopreneur or a freelancer, what is how many sales does that look like? What if you don't want to have a team? What if you are totally fine with it just being you? What does that look like for you? How much can you take on as far as sales go and clients go and products go and services go? How does that look like? What is your own capacity? And if you do want to keep growing and you want to keep increasing your sales, what do you need to do in order to be able to do that to still have capacity? Remember that your time is valuable. Whether it's you creating a product or you offering a service, your time is valuable, and you want it to be reflected in this amount of sales that you're selling and you're creating. Because at some point, if you want to keep yourself like a one man show and you want to just do it, like you need to know what that number is going to look like. But The good thing is that there are things that you can delegate. You can delegate admin services. So all those little piddly stuff that you don't really like to do, you can get a contractor to do that. So not an employee, but a contractor. You can have an accountant or a bookkeeper, right? Keep track of your numbers and help with the billing. Keep that on track. You can have a graphic designer or a marketing team that does all the marketing stuff for you. And that's one way that you can stay being an individual freelancer or solopreneur, but still build your team. See, at any point, you're going to need to build some kind of a team if you want to make good money. All of the contractors that are solopreneurs and freelancers that I know do that. So you want to make sure you're doing that. The way to do that is to look at your sales, look at your capacity, look at your margins, because all of those things are going to roll in together and determine whether or not you need to make more in sales or you just need to be making more money. And so that's what I want you to kind of think and start digging in today. That is our session. It's short and sweet today, but we will be digging into more things this week and going into a little bit next week. And then we are going to be prepping for our 4-day workshop. So stay tuned for details on that. I'm really excited for that at the end of this month because we're going to change the landscape of how businesses operate. We're going to dig into those insights that you might be missing by not having an ongoing accountant. We're going to fix that problem and we're going to keep this rolling. So thanks for joining me today. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments. Otherwise, I will see you later. Thanks. Bye.